We are standing on the northern slope of Har Kabir, the mountain of Jabal Kabir, east of Nablus, Shchem, overlooking Wadi Farah, Nahal Tirtza. Probably this was the way of Joshua from Jericho to Nablus, to Shchem. Joshua with Bnei Israel, with the people of Israel, they came to the mountain of Gerizim and to the mountain of Eval for the ceremony of reading the Torah and the ceremony of the blessing. They came from Jericho. This valley is the main way going from the Jordan Valley, and Jericho is located in the Jordan Valley, to the mountains of Nablus. And it is defined in the Bible as the way of the west. Let us read the verses in Deuteronomy, chapter 11, verse 29. And it shall come to pass, when the Lord thy God has brought thee into the land into which thou go to possess it, that thou shalt put the blessing upon Mount Gerizim and the curse upon Mount Eval. Are they not on the other side of the Jordan River? The people of Israel, Moses, is standing on the eastern side of the Jordan River, and he is pointing to the western side of the Jordan River by the way where the sun goes down. The sun goes down, they are standing in the east, and they look to the west, and they see the mountains of Nablus, the mountains of Samaria, and in the mountains they can see this valley going from the Jordan Valley westward to the mountains of Nablus, to the mountains of Shchem. So it is so this way, and Moses instructed Joshua how to get to the mountains of Nablus in order to make the ceremony of the blessing and the curse. Now, according to the order of Moses, this ceremony should take place right after they cross the Jordan River. It is written in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 27, verse 2, and it shall be on the day when you shall pass over the Yarden, over the Jordan River, to the land which the Lord thy God gives thee. And later Moses repeats this order in verse 4. And it shall be when you have gone over the Jordan River that you shall set up these stones, which I command you this day in Mount Eval. So the ceremony has to take place on the same day of the crossing of the Jordan River. How is it possible? When we look at this valley, it takes weeks or even months to come from the Jordan River, from Jericho, from the Jordan River, to go up the mountains through this valley and get to the mountains of Nablus. We have to remember that the Jewish people at that time, the people of Israel, was at least a people of 2 million people. So it had to take at least a couple of months, at least. So how is it possible to carry out that order on the same day? And indeed, in the book of Joshua, the Bible emphasizes that Joshua acted exactly as Moshe ordered him, commanded him, exactly. How is it possible to carry out such an order? So the answer of the rabbis in the Talmud is that it was a miracle. It was a miracle. All these events happened in one day by miracle. If it's miracle, everything is possible. But is there any natural, historical answer to this question? I would like to give another answer. That the emphasis of Moses, בעברכם את הירדן, when you cross the Jordan River, does not mean literally the same day. It means this should be the first act before you go on to make the wars, to conquer the land. The first act that you should do after you cross the Jordan River, before the great wars, you have to get to Nablus, to the mountains of Shchem, Nablus, and make that ceremony, and only later go to the war. Why? That ceremony on the mountain of Gerizim and on the mountain of Eval is very important for the education of Bnei Israel, of the people of Israel. It gives them the main message of the Bible. And the message is, if you act on the basis of the Torah, of the Word of God, God helps you in war, in peace, in everything you do. But if you don't act on the basis of the Word of God, you will get a curse. You won't get the blessing of God. You won't succeed. This message is very important for a people coming to conquer the land, coming to make war. And so Moses, as an educator, tells Joshua, don't think as a military leader, first go to the war and then make the ceremony. Just the opposite. First make the ceremony in order to educate the people. Only then they can go to war and succeed. That's the meaning of when you cross the Jordan River. It's not the same day, but the first act. Probably it took them months to go through this valley from the Jordan River and get to Nablus. But it was indeed the first act. They had two little wars on the way, in Jericho and in Hai, two little towns on the way in the Jordan, along the Jordan River. But after they succeeded to defeat them or to push them, they had a free way, because according to archaeological findings, we know that the people of Shchem made peace with Joshua. We have the letters from El Amarna in Egypt, which belong to the same time, and there one of the letters tells us about the peace that was made between the Chabiru, the tribes who invaded the land from the east, and the people of Nablus, the people who lived here on the mountains around Nablus, around Shchem. And the message is very simple and clear. The people of Israel, in order to succeed in the war, in order to conquer the land of Israel, must have strong faith and must have deep, deep connection to the Word of God. This is the key to the success in the war. In the time of Joshua and in our time as well.